Hi, how you doing? And welcome back to another video on the channel. Just before we get started, any new viewers, any likes and subscribes, greatly appreciated. Thank you for any support we've had already this season. We hope to build on it as the fixtures continue into game week 8. So we're going to start with looking at this week's fixtures, and it's important to remember that it's a Friday deadline about 6:30 p.m. and there's a rare double header kicking off on Friday night. In terms of captaincy, you Mitrovic owners, you'll be hoping to get off to a good start, and to be honest, you have every chance as Fulham playing Nottingham Forest. So who could blame you for sticking the captaincy on him as well to try and get off to an absolute amazing start in your game week? Moving on to Saturday, and it'll be interesting to see if the week's break will slow down Haaland's momentum. It's unlikely, but Wolves defensively have looked okay, keeping three clean sheets in their first 6 games and only conceding 4. Although it's always a risk going against her Haaland captaincy, maybe this could be the week to do it, especially if you own Kane or even Son or Richarlison. Spurs have Leicester at home, who are in all kinds of a mess, and although they will have an extra time to prepare, the writing's on the wall for me, and I wouldn't expect to see anything different in this game as Spurs could potentially blow them out of the water. Tottenham have been creating chances for fun and are due a big haul. Could it come against a defence who have already shipped 16 goals in 6 games? Quite possibly. Aside from those teams, there's not really another captain to target. Arsenal still need to bounce back against their defeat to Man United, and Brentford, who they're playing, are in good form. I'd also stay away from the Chelsea Liverpool game as we don't really know what we're going to get from either team. Moving on to my team then, and not an awful week in terms of fixtures, but also not amazing with lots of players having away games. I have the option of 2 free transfers and zero point 0.6 mil in the bank, so let me know if you see any potential changes. We start in goal with Henderson, and whilst you'd expect Fulham to score, it's not unreasonable to think Henderson could get something here. Mitrovic has already missed a penalty this season, and Henderson has saved 2, so there's a potential for extra points should such a situation arise. Moving on to the defence, and there's an immediate clash between Trent and Fofana. With this game difficult to call, I'm tempted to leave both in and let them thrash it out, but there's obviously the risk of it being high scoring, in which case neither player will help. We spoke about Man City versus Wolves earlier, and whilst Wolves look good defensively, I'm confident of a Man City clean sheet with Wolves only scoring 3 in 6 so far. Cancelo also got 2 assists in Man City's first Champions League game, so hopefully the signs are there for more attacking returns in the league as well. Rounding out the defence, we've got Ben White. I'm tempted to swap him for Andreas, who I've currently got on my bench. I'm not sure Arsenal can keep a clean sheet here, but I'll wait and see close to the deadline. Going forward for Arsenal, it could be a different story, as Brentford have conceded 9 in the first 6. Saka has got 4 returns so far this season, and he's going under the radar in my opinion. So far, I've put the armband on Salah as I think his game could be chaotic, and he's someone who's motivated to finally get his season started properly. Liverpool Chelsea could be really high scoring, and I think he's the sort of player that can have a couple of goals dropped to him from close range. I've put the vice captain on Son, and to be honest, he's a potential captain pick for me. He has a great fixture and could easily have had 4 attacking returns in his last 2. It's a potentially outrageous pick, but has huge upside in my opinion with his relatively low ownership compared to other captaincy choices. Harrison hasn't returned for me yet, and I could sell him for a zero point 0.1 million profit, which is rare for my team that usually loses a lot of money. But the fixtures turn after this week with Leeds having great games all the way up to game week 14. In the attack, with this could be Jesus' last week in my team, and there's a potential swap to Mitrovic or Isak on the cards, maybe even before the deadline this week. Arsenal's fixtures are getting more complicated, and there's question marks over whether they can do it in the big teams, which will harm Jesus' long term potential in a lot of people's squads. He's still very highly owned, so it would be creating a bit of a risk in terms of high ownership if he ends up scoring points, but the differential potential is still there. Rounding out the starting 11, we have Tony. Although they're playing Arsenal, it is at home and they're in good form. If Tony can score here, expect a flood of managers bringing him in for their great fixtures up to game week 15. Onto the bench we go, and we have the usual cheap players. Unless I transfer out White, there's a good chance he swaps with Andreas in a late week reshuffle. Let me know what you think about my team. Is there anything you would do differently? I've got those 2 free transfers, so would you use them? I'm going to have to try and use one, but I'm not too sure. and also there's a potential wild card coming in a game week soon. So thank you very much for listening. A bit shorter this week. Any support on the channel is greatly appreciated, and I will see you in the next one.